What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Raudeza Reviews. I'm Raudeza. Now, before I get started today, I obviously want to acknowledge the special day that it is. It's Mother's Day. I want to send a special shout out to my mom. I love you very much, Mom. Thank you for everything, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to be doing these reviews because I wouldn't be here. And for those subscribers out there who are mothers or who presumably have mothers, I hope you are able to have a special day today. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. So I know I had made the announcement about 2 months ago that I was going to be reviewing this figure, but as you know, I got the deluxe set, the extra crispy one, as I mentioned before, and it kept getting delayed. You have to remember there are actually 4 versions of this figure, and they're very hard to come by. In many cases, they're sold out everywhere, so that's one of the main reasons it took forever to get this thing into the studio, and it kept getting pushed back. I think I counted like 3 times. Nevertheless, the folks over at Sideshow Collectibles finally got the confirmation, and it is here in the studio now so that I can finally review this awesome figure. So this version of Batman really needs no introduction. It is so popular. The film was amazing. This kind of like tech noir meets Seven type of just ambiance was really freaky and really awesome, and a natural progression for this character. And I gotta say, Robert Pattinson, man, freaking surprised me because he was awesome as Bruce Wayne / Batman. So go get a drink and make some popcorn or something. This is gonna be a little bit of a longer video because there is literally so much to unpack here. So finally, we're gonna be reviewing Hot Toys version of the Batman, the deluxe version, the 1/6 scale figure. Let's take a closer look. Now just look at how awesome, menacing, and imposing this looks. There are so many things about this head sculpt that I like. Obviously, this is Robert Pattinson. The best thing about this head sculpt, though, is that it is actually magnetic, very similar to the DX Dark Knight version of Batman, which we've reviewed on the show. Now, the cowl is fantastic. It's got these little scrapes and scratches on it that look really cool. Really looks like leather. There is the purr system, which means you can move the eyes independently. And since the head sculpt is not static, in fact, it's magnetic, like I mentioned, you can get some awesome dynamic poses. This is beautiful. Now, Batman has always had some very dynamic costumes, but of all of them, I think this is my favorite because it is a little bit more tactical, and since the film is grounded in a little bit more reality, it just makes sense. Look at the armor sets here. Absolutely modular, and I like the fact that it's got really cool textures. Just look at that. I mean, the textures really make it pop out. What's intriguing to me is that a lot of these armor sets look mixed matched, but they actually serve a function, like his shoulder pads, and of course those wonderful gauntlets with the actual spears or the spikes popping out. I mean, that just sells it for me. It's one of the coolest aspects of this costume. You have that wonderful bat symbol, which looks like a fully functioning batarang. And then, of course, I can't say enough about the actual utility belt. Now, again, it's grounded in a little bit more reality. It looks more functional. The pouches look amazing. And again, they are fully functional. You can add certain details or extras that came with this figure onto this utility belt. It's really awesome. Now, even though the suit can seem like it's form-fitting, it's actually very functional and it's very malleable. The lower section looks fantastic here, and again, you see those pads and armor sets. The boots are very well sculpted, and fortunately, there is a nice ball joint system there, even though there are some seam lines that make this character very malleable. What I like especially is the pouch where he puts the actual grapple gun. As I mentioned before, everything on this costume is fully functional, and of course, you can sheath the grapple gun. It's just those subtle details that really make this figure come to life. Now, there's lots of incentives to actually mirror this piece because it just looks amazing on the reverse side. Now, let's start with the cowl. I've always liked this version of Batman because it reminds me of the Batman by Gaslight because it does have that collar, which looks really cool. And as you can see, you get a better understanding of the dynamics of how this attaches to the actual figure. It's obviously magnetic, so it's more range. Now, here is the magnificent thing about this piece. It's definitely in the cape. It does have a wire mesh, so you can do some dynamic poses, but look at the grit and the grime, coupled with the folds. It just looks really great and realistic. Now, if you notice, I actually reversed this base. The funny thing about this is that there is a light up feature there because there's a USB port. I just don't know how to light it up yet, or it didn't come with the figure. Overall, the reverse side of this thing looks amazing. So this is the only real weird thing about this figure, and as I mentioned, this is actually the back side of the base because I wanted to have that kind of pose where he's perched on whatever, a building or something like that. Now, again, I alluded to this before. This thing does light up. It does have a USB port. It didn't actually come with the adapter or anything like that, but I imagine any USB port you can find in a gas station at this point will plug into this sucker and you can actually light it up. This looks really great though. Now, this being the deluxe set, the previous base being part of the deluxe set, means that you actually get a standard base, which is basically a slab. Pretty interesting though. They gave you two lithographs. One is like this more fiery motif and the other one just reads the Batman, which is a little bit more red and black, which looks pretty cool. And they just plug into the base, no big deal. Now, the lip of the base does read Batman. It doesn't read the Batman, which is really weird. And of course, it has the port for the nut grabber, which I'm using on the deluxe base. It's cool. It's another display option. Now, included in the deluxe set is a couple additions in terms of head sculpts. You do get the actual cowl, which looks really awesome if you want to display him with the alternate head sculpt. Now, the profile on Robert Pattinson in this particular case looks amazing, and the cool thing about it is that they actually show where he puts the mascara on the actual head sculpt. The eyes are fantastic. Still can use that great purse system for this head sculpt as well. And then finally, you get an alternate kind of like raggedy piece for the hair if you want to close it out and you want to be a little bit more kind of battle hardened, so to speak. I mean, I think these accessories are just really cool, and it's a nice addition to the deluxe set. So overall, some more display options. So if you're so inclined and you want to put the actual non-cal head sculpt on, there was a lot of thought into the engineering of this piece, which makes a lot of sense. So you do get an alternate cape, which of course has the wire mesh as well. I don't think it's as dynamic as the original, but it is a testament onto how much planning went into the actual sculpt in this piece, where they want to make it as movie accurate as possible. So you do have this alternate cape along with the neckline piece so that it fits flush very well with the non-cal head sculpt, which is really cool. You also get the mouth plates, which I think are just really awesome and brilliantly sculpted, and there's a lot of detail here. So if you want to have some more dynamic pieces, you can have a more stoic kind of like display option. You can have it like this mid-tier kind of facial expression, or you can go all out and have the teeth coming out and gritting and grinding, which looks really awesome and it's very dynamic. Again, one of the great things about these deluxe versions is that you have almost an infinitesimal amount of display options. Not really, but you know what I mean. Now, I warned you this was going to be a little bit longer video because there's, again, so much to unpack here. In fact, I just left it in the tray because it's so much I was afraid of losing it. So, you know, any version of Batman is going to have gadgets. So this one comes with a bunch of them. So for accuracy's sake and to make sure that I got everything included in this DX version, I went to the source and got the official accessories from the Sideshow website, which include one sticky bomb gun with one bullet, 2 die-cast batarangs, 1 wired grappling hook, 1 grappling hook, 4 pairs of utility tools, 1 Riddler envelope with card, and 1 pair of handcuffs. And of course, you have the wonderful tool for the purse system so that you can move the eyes independently. And finally, rounding out the last bit of accessories are 7 additional hands for various poses, which, trust me, on this figure you're definitely gonna need because it's pretty dynamic. Now, if you thought that was enough stuff, well, wait, there's more, because we also have the wingsuit that we see when he was trying to get out of Gotham PD and made that leap off the tower. And this thing is really detailed and really cool. And I didn't actually display it with a figure, but I imagine from the photos it looks pretty freaking awesome. Though I would, for me, be a crime to actually cover up the bat suit, but nevertheless, we do get this really cool accessory. And finally, and you guys know that I'm not a really big fan of these like backdrop themes, but this one is actually very cool. Not only is it dynamic, but it's got that parallax kind of effect, so when you move it, it actually changes in real time depending on the angle or the viewing angle and where your perspective is, which I think is pretty cool. Now, there's a bit of a shine on it because of the natural light, but when you're actually not, or when it's not hitting direct sunlight, this thing is freaking awesome. So I'm glad we actually got this. So look, guys, I don't know how else to put this, but if you've got this piece in your collection, you're walking among legendary giants. This is a hard piece to come by. So this goes beyond Holy Grail piece. It is a freaking legend. And it really doesn't matter what piece you own, the regular version, the deluxe version, the extra crispy, the one with the bat cycle, the one with the bat symbol. It doesn't really matter, guys. If you have this piece in your collection, consider yourself lucky, because this thing is on its way to the secondary market, and holy shit, it's gonna be a bloodbath. So if you have an opportunity to pick this thing up for a relatively cheap price, pick it up. Alright everybody, so that's my official review on Hot Toys version of the Batman, the deluxe version, the 1/6 scale figure. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next Raudeza Reviews.